Welcome to Pouring Over Books, a podcast where we dive into the books we love and maybe a few we didn't. I'm your host, LaShawn, and every week I'll be deep diving into what I'm reading, recommendations, and talking about all the things that we love about books. So grab your favorite coffee or tea, find a cozy spot, and let's get ready to pour over some great books together. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Pouring Over Books podcast. I am LaShawn, your host, and friends. The unofficial start of summer is here. Usually by now, my son would be out of school, but this year they decided to extend school by 3 days because they added 2 weeks of break time during the year. Like we get a full week for our fall break and a full week for our winter break. Why these kids need so many breaks, I have no idea. We might as well be in year-round school, truthfully. Anyway, I digress. But because they added those 2 weeks off, they added 3 days to the end of the school year, which in the grand scheme of things is not really bad until you get to the end of the school year and you realize that you're used to getting out before Memorial Day and now you get out after. But it's only 3 days. They only have to go through Thursday and then we are free. And we go on vacation in June. And I'm starting a 100 days summer photography project next week. So for me, I'm officially going to go ahead and call it summer. And that leads me to my official 2025 summer reading guide because it is summer reading season, friends. Yay! The guide came out yesterday, and I will link it in the show notes. It's totally free. It's not behind any kind of paywall at all because I feel like I hate it when it's behind a paywall for myself. So I like to just have it out there. The guide has 20 books in 5 different categories. And I must say, there is a lot of variety on it, and I love that for all of us. I also kept it to 20 books because I've seen a few out this year that have more. There was one that had 70 something, and I was like, I'm overwhelmed even thinking about looking through this guide. Overwhelmed. So I try to keep it short and sweet, but still impactful. And I think I achieved that. So, like I said, the guide has 20 books in 5 different categories. And the categories are number 1, books that I feel like are going to be in the running for the It book of the summer. You know, that book that everyone is talking about. The second category is romance, of course. Third category was thrillers because who doesn't love a good thriller in the summer? Fourth is literary fiction, which I'll explain more about later. And 5 is nonfiction for my nonfiction friends because summertime really is a good time if you want to buckle down with one book. A nonfiction book is your good idea at that time. So out of that list, today I thought I'd share 5 books from my guide that I think everyone should read this summer. These are books from every category that I myself am looking forward to. I have ARCs, advanced reader copies for 2 of them. I own one already. And the last one, I just now, as I'm recording this, got the ARC I requested for. Yes, I am so excited. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into these 5 books that I think everyone should read this summer and why. Okay. From our possible It book category, meaning the book, like I said before, that everyone is going to be talking about. And I think the easiest book to get into in this category will be Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. She is the author of Daisy Jones and the Six, which before Book Talk was really in, this was the book. This was the book we were all talking about. This book is, let me go ahead and read the plot. In 1980, reserved physics professor Joan Goodwin joins NASA, finding friendship, love, and a new sense of purpose. But as she prepares for her first mission, STS-LR9 in 1984, a single moment alters everything, forcing Joan to question her place among the stars and in the world she left behind. This book comes out June 3rd, so that's next Tuesday. It sounds like a classic Taylor Jenkins Reid book. Her books are usually, when she does write one, they're usually good summer books, good books to read during the summer. I fully expect to see this one in airports, on beaches, and by the pool this summer as people get into it. Yeah, I'm going to read it sometime next month too. In the romance category, I'm going with One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. The plot. Hoping to recapture magic, photographer Alice returns to a lake cottage with her grandmother. There she encounters Charlie, a man from a pivotal photo taken when she was 17. As sun drenched days turned into warm nights, Alice, used to observing, finds herself unexpectedly seen by Charlie, risking her guarded heart. If you have read any of Carly Fortune's books, especially Ever Summer After, I don't know if that was her first book. I think, yeah, Ever Summer After was her very first book. And Charlie is the brother of the main character, Sam. One of the main characters, Sam, he's the charismatic, fun loving brother. Evidently, he became a fan favorite, even though if I remember the book correctly, I don't know why he was the fan favorite. But he was fun loving. I will give you that. So this is a return to that character, giving him his own side story. And that book, Ever Summer After, was not my favorite book by hers. Everyone loved that book. I actually loved the second one on. I've loved them, but this one was okay. So I'm interested to see how she makes me like Charlie. I'm interested. I'm not holding a grudge or anything because Charlie only did what he was allowed to do. But I'm interested to see how he redeems himself and how she makes me want him to have his happy ending. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Read the first one or don't and just go into this one blind. That way, yes, don't read the first one. If you haven't read it, just read this one. Just read this one. That way you won't have any prejudices like I do. All right. The next book is my thriller category pick, and I'm going with What Kind of Paradise by Janelle Brown. Let me tell you what it's about. Raised off grid, Jane's isolated world is shattered when she uncovers a dark family secret. Fleeing to San Francisco, she navigates a city's tech boom while seeking answers about her hidden past and true identity. This gripping tale explores innocence, knowledge, and belonging as Jane confronts who she truly is. This book also comes out next Tuesday on June 3rd. I kept seeing this book. I ignored it the first couple of times I saw it. No, maybe actually the first 3 times I saw it. I started seeing this book in January when people were talking about books of the year. And I was like, okay. Then I heard about it on 2 of my favorite podcasts, reading podcasts I listened to, and I was like, maybe. And then in the last week while I was researching this, making my guide, this one, it kept coming back to me. And I listened to a podcast and someone read it. And the way she described it, I was like, okay, all right, it's a sign. We will be added to it, and I'm going to add it to my own personal list. Yes, so can't wait to see how that one goes. Now for our literary category. Let me explain about this category. Literary fiction is a category of novels that focuses on style, character, and theme over plot. So unlike most genres in commercial fiction, it often is slower in pacing, and a lot of readers, myself included, will often DNF literary books simply because it's not fast enough, or even that sometimes the story doesn't have a traditional beginning, middle, and end. And I think that is my own personal issue with a lot of literary fiction. Sometimes I feel like they're trying too hard. And that's or either, like I say about a lot of authors, you're trying too hard to be Toni Morrison. The books meander, and sometimes they also tackle complex themes and social issues. Like I said, think Toni Morrison, think The Great Gatsby, think Demon Copperfield, or even God of the Woods that I read last year, that I said it just went on and on and on, and I was like, why isn't this book ending? But it was good when I finished it. Something like that. It's like the books you love but you struggle through. These are not books you read quickly. Case in point, it took me like a week to finish God of the Woods when my average is 1 to 2 days. And the only reason why I finished I listened to that book. I feel like if I had not listened to that book, it would have taken me a smooth month to finish that book because I was so frustrated. So on that note, it's not a ringing endorsement, but I feel like sometimes you have to stretch yourself as a reader. And I think literary fiction helps you to do that. So on that note, my choice for this category is The Girls Who Grew Big by Layla Motley. Let me tell you what it's about. Sent away pregnant, 16-year-old Adela finds herself in Padua Beach, Florida with her grandmother. There she meets Emery and Simone and joins the Girls, a group of outcast teen moms. Despite town judgment, these young girls navigate friendship, love, and the complex journey of motherhood, proving they're finding their way, not losing it. This comes out at the end of June, June 24th. Layla also wrote the book Night Crawling, which she was like 19, 18 or 19 when it came out. She was very young. Everyone talked about that book. It's one of those literary books that I'm going to tell you right now, I did not finish because I could not. It was really heavy. And I don't think that descriptions and reviews did not prepare me for how heavy it was. So I had to put it down. Doesn't mean that I won't eventually go back and finish that book. I'm just not in a place to finish it now. So I'm hoping that this one is not as heavy, even though the topic, depending on how it's written, can be heavy. So, but I'm looking forward to this book, and I already have my copy, my advanced reader copy. So I will be getting into that sometime next month. And now, the last category for my nonfiction category, my pick is Blessings and Disasters: A Story of Alabama by Alexis Okiowo. It doesn't come out until August, so this makes this a very, very late entry into the summer reading list, but I want it on your radar. Don't worry, in August, I will remind you again that this book is coming. In this intimate memoir and journalistic feat, Alexis Akiowo, daughter of Nigerian immigrants, defies stereotypes of her Alabama home. She intertwines her family's story with the state's, exploring its complex history and present day realities. Okiowo reveals how Alabamians reconcile love for their home and its troubled past and ongoing struggles. Like I said, out August 5th. This book interests me. I have a personal interest in this book because both of my parents were born and raised in Alabama, and currently my mother lives in Alabama. So does my entire side of her family. Everybody lives in Alabama. I spent many a summer in Alabama. When I visit my mother, I'm in Alabama, and I know all about its sordid history, mainly from firsthand accounts from my parents. So I am very interested to read this book and see what the perspective is for an immigrant family, basically, and see how they see it. I'm just very interested in this book, and especially since I'm not usually a nonfiction girl. Yeah, so if I'm interested in it, friends, read it. Okay, one more book, and I'm going to say this one is an honorable mention, and it's going to be Wally Lamb's The River is Waiting. Wally Lamb is also literary fiction, and even though he's not a personal pick of mine, I'm sharing this one because, well, it's Wally Lamb. You know, him of Oprah Book Club and She's Come Undone fame. But She's Come Undone came out in the 90s. I remember that from when she first started her book club, and his book was there. I think I even own that book somewhere deep in the bowels of this house because I bought it and got like halfway through it and could not finish it. It's one of those books that I have that I said that as I got older, I was going to revisit. I just haven't gotten around to revisiting it yet, but I'm going to try it one day. It is out June 6th, I believe. Yes. So here's the plot. Devastated by job loss, addiction, and new fatherhood, Corby's life spirals into tragedy, landing him in prison. Amidst brutality, he finds unexpected kindness from a librarian and fellow inmates. Supported by his mother's faith, Corby clings to the hope for forgiveness and reconciliation, desperate to heal the family he shattered. One review I read is it's a prison drama. So I'm like, is it like Shawshank Redemption? I'm curious. This one actually might make it. I might listen to this one because sometimes books that I perceive as hard go down easier for me if I listen to them. So if I find myself with an extra credit next month, this one might be what I use it for. All right. So friends, I hope that preview of 6 books from the summer reading guide gave you a few options to add to your summer reading list. And I hope it piqued your interest in the rest of the guide. Remember the entire 20-book guide. The link is in the show notes, and I hope you find something on there to add for your summer reading this summer. Now, let's get into my currently reading situation. What I just read. I just read Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. It's a romance. Let me tell you what it was about. Camille's wedding plans crumble when her groom vanishes, leaving her stranded at the altar until she rents her dream home next to Dusty, her first love. As old sparks reignite, past wounds resurface, and in small town Meadowlark, they must decide if a second chance at love is worth the risk and forever. This is the last book in the Rebel Blue series, all set in a small town, mainly on a ranch. So, cowboys, small town, the du jour or the it thing right now in romance books. This is, like I said, the last book in the series, and I read the first book. I didn't read the second. I DNF'd the third, but I finished this one. I couldn't remember any of the characters really, except the ones from the last book that I actually DNF'd, but only because they were tied to this one. And I think that last book, seeing these two characters in the last book is what sparked my interest in reading this one. It's strange, but yes. I felt like the writing improved a lot in this book from the first one. Plus, I love second chance romances, and so this one kept my interest. Even though the third act breakup was really total BS, I felt like the author just needed to add some tension because it was really no way she should have been that upset about what happened. What was she figured? It just no way. It was foolishness. I was like, girl. But overall, it was a nice way to pass the time, and I gave it a solid 3 out of 5 stars. What I am currently reading, I switched back to romantasy because soon I'm going on vacation, and that's going to be heavily romance books, I think, as of now. More on that later at a later time, a later episode. Anyway, I just started on a book that comes out, let me see, the end of July, called Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen. Here is the summary of the plot. Saffron Killeron will do anything to bring down the Blood Moons, the gang that murdered her parents. She cons her way into Silver Cloak Academy, hoping to become a detective and exact justice. When her lies are uncovered, she's offered the risky alternative: go undercover inside the Blood Moons. Thrust into a world ruled by power, pain, and deadly secrets, Saf must play a dangerous game to survive. But as her feelings grow for the gang leader's haunted son, who's fated to die by her hand, by the way, Saf's mission gets murkier. One wrong move could cost her everything, including the vengeance she's lived for. This is the start of a series. I've let up a little bit on my don't read a series until it's complete. I kind of broke down that barrier last month when I read 3 books that were the start of the series. And I'm mad at myself, but I enjoyed every one of them. More on that next week. This book sounds romantasy-ish, but more leaning towards fantasy or just straight fiction. I'm not quite sure. Is listed under the romantasy category, so I'm interested to see exactly where the fantasy comes in here, because I don't see anything about a magical system or anything like that, but at least nothing in the plot. So I got to read. I'm curious. I'm only on page 2, so I have nothing to report yet. I am also listening to Scorched Skies by E.J. Mello. I've read this author's previous series, and even though I didn't like the last book in the series, I liked the author's writing enough to try this one out. It is also a romantasy. In the divided world of Kadra, winged Valari rule over the earthbound Sura. Tanwin, born of a forbidden union, must stay hidden to survive. When Crown Prince Zolia captures her family, she infiltrates the royal court to save them. Disguised as a servant, Tanwin uncovers dangerous secrets and unexpected feelings for Zoya. As love sparks between enemies and rebellion brews, they must choose between loyalty and each other before the king's rule tears them and their worlds apart. I'm about 65% through this one, so over the halfway mark. And at this point, we are at the point where the love has sparked between the enemies, and they are not yet they're not enemies anymore, but they haven't turned lovers yet. Not all the way. There's only been one encounter. And it is, I'm going to put it, the main character is irking me, but that could just be me being tired of the young ignorant girls in these books thinking they can save the world and they have no plan. I'm like, girl, what were you thinking? It always works out, but maybe I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I need a little bit, my reality needs to be more suspended than it is, but it's fine. I'm enjoying listening to it, and I will finish that by the end of the month. So I will tell you more about that next week when I talk about books I read in May. What I plan on reading next is Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. This is on my summer reading guide, and it is out today. The plot: Maya Kilgore is 23, a struggling grad student with a crush on 38-year-old Connor Harkness, her brother's best friend and totally off limits. He says they're too different, the power dynamic too messy. But when they're stuck together in a romantic Sicilian villa for a wedding, tension flares. Between breathtaking views and family chaos, Maya suspects Connor's hiding something, and a summer fling might be worth the risk, even if it breaks every rule. So last summer, when we went on a cruise, went on vacation, I took Allie Hazelwood's Not in Love with me. And this book, a year later, is about the younger sister and best friend of the male main character in that book. I remember thinking, oh, she has a crush on his best friend. And now here we are. I love that Allie Hazelwood knows that it's problematic and that she named the book Problematic Summer Romance. I adore that. I adore it. I admit to hating age gap romances, so I am not thrilled. Especially when the female character is under 25. Like if she's over 25, I'm like, okay, she has agency. She's a little bit smarter. She's grown into herself. Okay. All right. But under 25, I'm like, ugh. But this book, I'm like, at least she's over 21 because I hate that too. But Connor is 38. Since it's Allie Hazelwood, I will read it because I read any and everything she writes. So here I am. I mean, she is the one who got me to read Bride last year, where there's a host nodding. I'm still not over that, and the fact that I'm going to read another one in that same vein when it comes out at the end of the year. Only Allie Hazelwood. She's one of the few authors that literally, like I said, I will read whatever she writes because I know I'm going to be entertained. So here I am. Anyway, that is all this week. Remember, if you want to see the entire summer reading guide, head to the show notes for the link or head over to my Substack, Letters to LaShawn. In the meantime, please remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if you could give us a rating on Apple or Spotify, it will help us grow and find new bookish friends. If you want to reach me, you can email me at pouringoverbookspod@gmail.com or follow me on social media at LaShawn on IG or TikTok and send me a DM. Okay, friends, I hope you found a good book. I hope you read a good book this week and enjoy the rest of your week in this unofficial start of summer. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.